Where'd we play?
Welcome to the Golf Loons podcast, where the round doesn't end on the 18th green.
Where'd we play?
Hey gang, welcome back to the latest episode of the Golf Loons podcast. I'm your co-host Glenn with my other co-host, Mr. Twig.
Glenn, fun day at one of your top courses. So this is going to be a good one.
One of my favorite courses, always a course I struggle on, but for some reason I keep going back. I love this course. We'll get into a lot about it today. Sueur Country Club is where we played. I can't wait to tell some stories about it and the meaning, the connection I have to it. But we got some things to take care of before we do that. First, let's pay our bills and pay tribute to our friend JP and Yellowbird Coffee.
Yellowbird Coffee, St. Paul, Selby location, Northeast Minneapolis location. They're all about coffee, community, and conversation. And the great thing about Yellowbird isn't really the coffee in my mind. It's the owner, JP. And when you go in there, their staff is great. They want to get to know you. They have their regulars, and that's what they're all about. They're not a Starbucks. They're not a big bucks kind of place. They want to get to know their customers and create a community. So stop into Yellowbird.
Okay. My favorite part is the coffee because I don't like to talk to people very much. And I don't like anybody. JP's fine. But yeah, get down to Yellowbird. You'll have a great experience no matter what. But the coffee is delicious. It's the best in Minnesota.
It's top notch.
We know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And if you're watching on YouTube, first of all, we hope you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We could use a few more of you on there. Follow us on social media. But if you're watching us on YouTube, the Loons Nest is coming together. All this money we're raking in through the podcast is starting to pay dividends, and you can see it in our digs here. So we got a new set, kind of a little bit of a remodeled set, and things are just taking off.
We're always working.
Yeah,
we're always working. And I want to know how long it took you to put this wallpaper. It looks terrific. So thanks for that. The Loons Nest has been upgraded.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say it was a paint job, but it wasn't. It was stick-on wallpaper is amazing. So it didn't take me that long.
Yeah, nice job.
And if it comes down while we're talking, we'll get it. So, yeah. All right. So let's get into Sueur Country Club. I'll tell a little story about Sueur Country Club before we get going. It's a course we've had high on our list, but people may not be familiar with it, and I wasn't familiar with it. I had a very good friend named Mike Ryan, tragically died in just a horrible scene a few years ago. It was all over the news outside a bar after a Wild game. So we really miss him, and Mike would have been one of the best guys to have on this podcast. Yeah. But Mike was a great friend, and he was a Callaway rep. His job was a rep for Callaway. And because of that, Mike was able to get us on to courses, especially in the Southwest Metro, because that was one of his territories. But you wouldn't really know where you were playing with Mike until the day of. He would say, "This is where we're going." And a lot of times it was the Wilds, a lot of Southwest Metro clubs. And one day he texted me and he said, "We're playing Sueur Country Club today." And admittedly, I was like, "What? Why are we playing at Sueur? Isn't that forever? It's going to take us forever to get there. Never heard of this course." And you get there, and about 3 or 4 holes in, I realized this is such a cool course. I just loved it. It got better and better as the round went on. The holes get cooler. They're challenging, but they're super fun. And it was just a hidden gem of a course. I fell in love. I'm a big Field of Dreams fan. I fell in love as you get to the 5th hole and the 6th hole. There's there's holes carved out of the cornfields. Then you wind back. You're always going over this river and the woods and just cool scenery. So I was like, I really love this course. And I told you it was one of the few courses you hadn't played that I played. So I kind of wanted you to see it And this is years ago. I wanted you to see it to make sure I wasn't crazy. And you came and you loved it.
Yeah.
And it's been one of my favorite courses ever since. So excited that we got to finally play it for our podcast today. We wanted to make sure we got it done in season 1, and today we did it. So long intro for Sueur Country Club. Hopefully I leave some stuff for us to talk about. But before we talk about a range of topics with this course, let's get into Twigs Gimmies. Pick it up. All right, Twig's going to tell us how to play Sueur Country Club because, I almost hesitate to tell everyone how great this course is because it is such a hidden gem, and our legions of fans are now going to flock to Sueur. It's going to be tough to get a tee time.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be really hard very soon. Well, I remember when you played it because you came back. We were working at Minnesota Hockey at the time, and you came back, and I don't know what day it was. You played, and you said, "Hey, I just played this course with Mike Ryan." And by the way, I used to coach Jefferson boys, and Mike Ryan was a Jefferson girls coach.
Yes.
So we saw each other nearly every day, and he was a sweetheart of a guy, and we still miss him and we still talk about him.
Yeah.
But I know you were golfing with Mike Ryan, and he came back and said, "I really like Sueur." And I was like, "Really?" And I was okay, why? And he told me, and I was like, "Sounds great." So like, I'm thinking it was about a month later, we went out there together, and I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. So it was really easy. It was a really easy sell for me to keep going back after that. And I love getting introduced to new courses, especially ones that I like by friends. And so it was cool. I still remember that day when you came in all excited to talk about it. So
prior to that day, Sueur was known for two things: the home of the Jolly Green Giant and the home of the prostitute in Fargo who transferred to White Bear Lake.
Yeah.
And cheers for the Bears.
Yeah, so go Bears.
Yeah, exactly. So Sueur now has another thing it's known for, and it's this course. So let's tell them how to play it. Let's start off on number 1, a par 5 uphill dogleg right.
Yeah, and a theme with Sueur that I was not expecting is the elevation changes and the hills and the up and down. So hole 1 is a tight tee shot, uphill, but you kind of are hitting through a chute. And if you hit it about 250, I mean, obviously straight, but like if you have to air one side to the left, but you just got it's not a very big fairway. You have to hit it. And if you can hit it 250-ish, you're close to the top of the hill, the crest, you can maybe get a little glimpse of the green. And then the second shot, if you can't see, there's a big tree. There's kind of a tree line there. There's kind of the tallest tree hit at the middle of that. And that was compliments of you today. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a shot, it's a hole you can hit in 2, like if you hit a really good drive and a good second. But if you're laying up, go for that big tree. And then the green's kind of skinny. And the greens today were super firm. And the last couple of times I've played Sueur, they're really firm. Pin was up front, so don't be afraid to bounce balls in. But once you're on the green, it's not super slopey. But to me, it's tee shot and then get that second shot into a good spot. It's pretty tight. So if you can keep it in play in your first 2, you'll have a nice wedge into the green.
Okay. Let's go to maybe the one hole I find rather nondescript on this course is a par 3, number 2.
It's nondescript, but it's hard.
And it's hard.
Yeah, and it's one I think if you're going to miss short. If you go over the green, it's going to be a nearly impossible up and down, especially if the greens are firm and fast. But today it was playing like 188 or 190 from the blue tees, which are the 1-ups from the back. And I typically in number 2, I try to play it about 10 yards short and try to just skip it on. And if I land a little short and I'm chipping up in the green, that's fine. There's a bunker to the right that, depending on where the pin is a tough up and down. So trying to avoid that too. But I typically just try to play it to the front of the green, a little short, and let it trundle on and try not to go over.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Then we move on. Now we get into going downhill on number 3. And the river that weaves its way throughout this course comes into play really for the first time.
A river runs through it. We meet it. We meet it on hole 3.
Yes.
It's a downhill tee shot. It asks a little bit for a fade, but if you can hit like about a 220 shot typically, and it's going to, the hill will help it carry down. I think it's 250-ish to the hazard.
Mm-hmm.
give or take. So play a little short of that. And if you can play it to the end of that fairway, you'll be rewarded with a fairly kind of short to mid iron into the green. If you miss the fairway on this hole, oftentimes you're just going to be punching out back to the upper part of the fairway and then heading back onto the green and then hitting back on the green from there. There's an open entrance in the front. So oftentimes I'll bounce it in front and skip it onto the green too. The green is one of the, probably the flattest on the course, but hole is all about tee shot. This one's all about the tee shot.
Yeah.
And get it into play.
If you're right or left off the tee, if you're just barely into the rough, you're blocked out.
Yeah.
So
More than likely. Yeah.
Okay. So then we go back up the hill, and in my mind, it's one of the steepest uphills in the state. You still argue number 10 at Theo Worth, but this one's up there. It's close.
I wonder if we can AI this debate, but it's uphill.
Or our listeners could weigh in.
That's right. Yeah. There are legions. What's kind of the greens perched at the top of this hill. It's a steep hill. It's about about a 380 yard par 4 uphill. And it's kind of an infinity green at the top of the hill. So it's a really cool look. It drops off on the left side. The green drops off on the right side, and it drops off in the back. So if you can get your tee ball into play into the fairway, that's going to help you a lot with your spin control. I typically add about 20 yards onto my uphill shot. And if you can get it anywhere on the green, you're pretty happy. If you go over the green, it's a really hard up and down because it's sneaky back to front. So it's a hole that, again, looks like it should be at Northland in Duluth. It's kind of an amazing hole. So get your tee ball into play anywhere in the fairway, and then I'd add about 20 yards on. Ideally, you're a little bit below the pin putting uphill, but it's a terrific hole. And the second shot, you just have to sack up and hit a great shot. Yeah. You can't go left, right, or deep. So,
right. Okay. Then we get into a fun stretch of the course, starting with par 5, number 5.
Yeah, I think 2, 3, and 4, even 1 to a degree, is kind of a meat grinder. It's a sneaky hard start. 5 gives you a little bit of a respite. There's trees along the left, so if you like to cut the ball, it can be a little bit of an awkward tee shot. But if you get your ball out into the fairway, to the top of the crest, which is a pretty good poke, then you can see the shot. But oftentimes the second shot's a little bit blind. And then you're usually, if you hit a couple pretty good first 2 shots, you're going to have a wedge into the green. And again, another green that's fairly flat. And so it's one I think that you can think birdie on oftentimes if you get those first 2 balls, reasonably far down the fairway. So yeah, a little bit of a breather.
Right. And then number 6, another one that is manageable, par 4.
Yeah, there's trees on the left, and then there's a bunker on the right to navigate. Kind of shoot that 150 marker for where tee you're playing. I think to know that you don't want to go on that right bunker. The trees on the left aren't too tall, so there's a bunch of pines, but I don't hit the ball terribly high. But I usually just aim it over those trees and hit a little cut back in the fairway. So anything that's, again, between the trees and the bunker on the right, you usually reward it with a fairly short iron into the green. And it's kind of another sneaky back to front green. Yeah, too.
Okay. We'll talk about the greens later today, I'm sure, too. But a green that's tough to hit is number 7, a par 3.
Yeah, number 7, mid-length. It's usually going to play somewhere around 150 or 160. If it's playing firm, if it's like it will most of the time, I think play it at the yardage, even though it's a little bit uphill, because you're going to, like today it was playing 150. I hit my one, but uphill. So typically, on a normal course, I might play at 160. I still played at 150 and hit an okay shot, hit in front, jumped down to the green, and I was almost pin high. So the place to not miss on this hole, I think, is over. If you're over the green, it's sneaky back to front, and it can be a tough up and down.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the second hole. It looks like not much is going on here, but the more you play it, the par is a really good score on 7.
Yeah. Okay. Then number 8, par 4.
Yeah, 8 it's a little bit of a longer par 4. It plays a little bit downhill. Asks for a draw off the tee. So if you play a draw, you're gonna like the look of the hole. And then even if you're in the rough, I think it's especially in the left rough or just barely in the right rough, you can still make a a good bid to get close to the pin. I usually take off about 8 to 10 yards on my approach shot, and you can skip one in. It's an easy hole to hit it over the green. So say if it's playing 180, I'll typically play at 170 and try to play something just a little short and like watch it pound on. There's a little slope in front of the green and I'll kick it on.
Okay. And then we'll go to number 9, back down the hill, similar to number 3, but even tougher than number 3.
Number 9's an unbelievable hole. And like, you cannot believe that you're in Sueur. That hole blows me away. And the more I play it, the more I like it. The tee shot asks for you to hit kind of something a little bit more along, kind of close to the left woods. And the fairway kind of cants or tilts right to left. So it'll kind of kick your ball down there. And there's like 2 plateaus in the fairway. So I don't hit the ball particularly far. I hit a decent drive, probably 230, and I was about 210 away, but I was in a flat area of the fairway. And then if you hit it probably 260, then it'll go down another slope and you'll have another flat area of the fairway kind of close to the ravine or the river that you're hitting over. So obviously fairway's key on number 9, but you're going to have a downhill approach. So if you want to gamble a little bit, try to hit your drive 260 to 280, and you can find that end of that fairway close to the river. But if not, even if you hit something, again, 220 to 230, you're going to have a fairly flat lie. And then I take about 15 yards off on the approach. And again, something short is going to be better than anything right, left, or over. So it's another green that's pushed way up.
Yeah. Tabletop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So make the turn, grab your snack and your drink, and get to number 10. Start off the back nine with a pretty little par 3.
I kind of like starting back nines off with a par 3, and this is a fun little hole. It was playing 125 today. It typically plays 140 or 150, but it's a shorter-ish par 3. I like how the green is benched into this little area. There's a little creek that runs in front of it, left, and then there's a little kind of hill behind it. So it's kind of benched in this area, and it's a really big green. So you'd have to be pretty exact with your distance, but it's a hole that I think if the pin's kind of more in the middle, it's not too bad at all. If it's in the front or if it's in the back, it can be a trickier shot too. But I think it's a really nice hole, and I like how you're teeing off really close to the clubhouse. So sometimes you might have a little peanut gallery, you might have a group of guys sitting outside having a beer after their round, but you're kind of close to the hub. So I like the feel of 10.
I feel like there's probably a lot of wagers placed out on the patio behind the clubhouse on who's going to hit this green on this shot. It's right there for you to view.
There's a guarantee there's some guy, a 72-year-old named Roger that's given his buddy Stan a whole bunch of crap as he's teeing off on the 10th hole. So I think it's a really fun setting, but the green is, it makes that hole, I think, a little sneaky back to front, but it's benched nice into the hill.
It is a great little par 3. Now we're going back up the hill on 11.
This might be more uphill than 4, or as uphill. This one, if you're going to miss the fairway, miss a little bit to the left. If you miss to the right, you might rattle around with some trees. But anything, hit it as straight and as far as you can. I had today, under the green, gosh, I had 160 something, and I hit like a 190 shot, and I barely got kind of even with the front of the green. So it plays about 25 to 30 yards uphill. Mm-hmm. And the green is 2-tier, which you pointed out to me today. So I didn't remember that it was. So the front part is kind of flat, and then there's a little tier. The back tier is smaller, and the pin was in that top tier, which is a really hard shot. But it's a great par 4. And again, I keep bringing up Northland, but you feel like you're in Colorado or Northland on this hole, not in Sueur.
And one of those uphills is number 3 at Northland with that two-tiered green almost looks exactly like the green at number 3.
And you would know.
What you know.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so now you're back. You're really kind of done going up the major hills. You're kind of upstairs for a little bit on number 12, par 5.
Yeah. And this one, you kind of feel like you have a little bit of a breather after 11. If you get your ball into play and just avoid the fairway bunker, fairway's key on this hole. There's enough trees left and right where you may have to punch out, which we both did. I was left You were right. We both punched out to about 150. But if you hit the fairway, you can take a hack at this one too. There's not a ton of trouble. There's a bunker short right of the green. It's a fairly flat green compared to a lot of the ones. So it's one that if you can get a wedge in your hand, it's one you can think birdie. Yeah.
Okay. Then 13, a par 4.
Oh, I mean, I think if I throw world class around, it might be hyperbole a little bit. It's a blind tee shot. And then the fairway at about 190 yards drops off. And then it kicks severely right to left. So play your tee ball right of the right third of the fairway. And I hit my drive that it pretty good down the middle, and it kicked, and I was in the left rough. So you got to, be prepared for that kick left. And then you have a slightly downhill tee shot, depending on how far you hit it up. If you really hit it, you'll have an uphill, but chances are you'll have a little bit of a downhill approach. And the green is my favorite on the course. It's just benched into the hillside, and then there's a little bit of a backstop behind it. It's a terrific hole. And it's one of the handful of holes. I can't believe I'm in Le Sueur, Minnesota.
Right. I mean, I remember you saying you could take this hole and put it on any other course, well-known course in the state, and someone would say this is a great hole.
Yeah, if you put it at Interlaken or Minnetonka or something like that, Hazeltine, Interlaken and Minnetonka, they'd say, "Oh, Donald Ross sure knew what he was doing on this hole." I mean, it's terrific. You can, depending where the pin is, sometimes you can use that hill behind as a backstop too, which can be a really fun shot too. Yeah. But yeah, the tee shot's fun just because you have to kind of guess on the slope. And then I love the approach and everything about the green side.
Yeah, when you do hit a good drive, like you said on the tee, when you're sitting on the tee, there's not much to the hole.
Yeah.
Then when you drive over that hill, if you hit a good drive and see how far down it went, and then you see that green up in front of you, it is a pretty stunning look.
Yeah.
So
for sure,
among many on this course.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was 13. Now we go to 14. Which interestingly is a par 4 for everyone except from the tips. It's a 210-yard par 3.
Yeah.
But we played the Blues, so par 4 for us.
Yeah, and from the Blues, which I think is a fairly common tee, probably there. It's about 250 to the water. So it was a little into the wind, so I hit my driver, and then you got a wedge. You got about 100 yards into the green, give or take. So if you can really pop your driver, from there, you couldn't take a hack at the green, even from where we were. I think it's like a 280 clear, something like that. Yeah. And another green, I like how they kind of have it situated into the hillside, and it's sneaky back to front. There's no bunkers as long as you avoid the water. So something 200 to 240 off the tee. You're going to have a wedge or a 9-iron in, and then hopefully you can hit it close and make your putt. But fun hole. The one thing I don't like about it is a fountain. I'm just not a fountain guy. But I'm sure I could talk to the general manager or the head pro, and maybe there's algae galore or some reason that there's a fountain. Yeah. I wish they could turn off the fountain. Just have a pond.
Well, I like fountains. I think they're relaxing. Don't you know fountains relax? That's why people have them. They relax you.
I've been to Europe once, my honeymoon. I loved all the fountains in Rome. Those are great. The Trevi fountain, awesome, super. Just not in the golf course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we don't disagree on much, but I guess we'll have to disagree on fountains.
I honestly can't name that many fountains on courses that I played, but but I don't mind it. Yeah. I think it's okay. I like them in my baseball stadiums too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So then we make a cool little drive up a hill through some woods and get to one of the best views on the course, number 15, downhill par 3.
Crazy downhill. Another par 3 that I could kind of liken this to as far as the amount of downhill, not necessarily how the hole plays, but just the amount of downhill is Braemar has I think on the new 18, I think it's 13. That's crazy downhill. So this one, I take 25 or 30 yards off on it. The one thing I wish they'd do is I wish they'd shave the hill down a little bit so you could land it short and bounce it on. But you kind of have to fly it to the green. So if there's no wind, I typically take about close to 30 off. And it's fun because the ball's high in the air and it's in the air a lot of time. this is the site of one of your nearest hole-in-ones that I mean, like, if I hit it to a foot a few times ago when we played it, that was one of the best shots I've ever seen you hit.
Oh, thanks, Twig.
Yeah.
That means a lot. I know.
Well, and today, par,
Yeah,
pin high left, 2-putt, ho hum.
I struggle at Le Sueur, but yeah, not to get into my game, but I've birdied that a couple times. But that one you speak of, even when I hit it, I thought this had a chance, and then it just looked more and more like it was going in, and then landed a foot away. And I just saw it. If I could have had a hole in one, that there's not many holes I would pick better than that one to have it, where it's just such a picturesque view. You can see everything happen down below. So opportunity missed.
Yes.
on 15 that time, but I still love that hole. And then let's go to 16, going back the other way, par 5.
16 is my favorite tee shot on the course. One of my favorite tee shots in the state. You hit through a saddle, and it pinches in at about 230. And it's kind of narrow, but there's a sideboard on the right and a sideboard on the left. So it actually plays a little bit wider, but I just love the challenge of trying to hit it in the saddle. And I've seen many a shot where you're just 5-10 yards off the fairway left or right, and then it hits that hill, kicks it back into the fairway.
Yeah. And then funnels down.
And then funnels down
a hill. So you really can gain a lot of yardage if you hit a good straight drive on it.
Yeah. So it's my favorite saddle in the state. My second favorite saddle would be number 9 at the Quarry, which is a par 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you hit through that one as well, but it's more, this one I think, at least for how far I hit it, the ball tip kind of lands more in the saddle than the one up there. So like, it's just fun to play.
Yeah.
And then if you do hit a decent tee shot, you get a chance to hit the green in 2. If you lay up, you have to lay up kind of the left 2/3 of the fairway, because there's a big tree that keeps getting bigger and bigger on the right, that if you're on the right side of the fairway, say just a few yards from the rough, you're going to have a hard approach. You're going to have to navigate that tree.
Yeah. And
another sneaky back to front green.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's go to 17. This one, another hole. It's not too long, but it can wreak havoc with you off the tee.
Yeah. If there's a hole you need to hit it straight at Le Sueur, this is the one. The fairways you hit the fairway. It was one of the best drives I've seen you hit in this hole. The fairway is probably literally 20 yards wide.
Yeah.
I mean, it's less than US Opens like in 1981, and you got a little bit of sideboard on the left, a little bit of sideboard on the right. So I wouldn't call it a saddle necessarily, but you can get a little love off that. I wish they would mold the sideboards a little bit, do it so kind of, I hit it on the left, not that far off the fairway, and hung up in the rough.
Yeah.
And it wasn't it's like a 20-yard fairway. Like I only missed by a couple of yards. Maybe don't put me in the rough. And then the other thing to navigate, there's a big tree on the left, and there's trees on the right on your approach.
Yeah.
So you hit the fairway, and you still could be, depending where the pin is, you still might have to navigate or avoid the big tree on the right, on the left, or the trees on the right. So it takes 2 really exact shots.
Yeah. And if you miss on the right, you're going way down a hill.
Correct.
Into the 18th hole. So
correct. Yeah. So, green, there's some break in the green, but it's not quite as huge as some other greens, but the first two shots, you have to be really good on 17.
Yeah. Okay. And let's finish it off with 18.
18, kind of shorter, par 4. It's deceptive how narrow the fairway is on this. We both thought that we hit down the middle of the fairway, basically, and we were both in the right rough. So you have to kind of tease that ball along the left tree line a little more than maybe you think, or hit a little bit of a draw.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can play something straight kind of along that left tree line, you'll find the fairway. But even if you're just a little in the right rough, it's not a horrible shot into the green.
Yeah.
And then again, a fairly flat green to finish, but it's all tee shot on 18.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Twig. Now that people, if they haven't played the Sueur Country Club, they need to, and now they'll have all the advantage in the world thanks to Twig's.
All of it, yeah.
Yeah. So now the fun part of talking about what we love about this course, and there's a lot of it. So let's go to the range.
Ready to hit the range? Let's do it. That was good, but again, you got to clear those hips.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
All right, Twiggy. I just want to say with the Sueur, there are so many things on this course that I should be annoyed at. I don't like when trees affect my tee shot. There's quite a few holes like that. I don't like when you're hit it straight and you're penalized, and that can happen a lot on this course, but yet there's still so much I love about this course. I don't, it's hard for me to explain, but I love it. Let's get to our favorite things on the Sueur, and I'll start with you. Give me your favorite hole.
I think you know what I'm going to say. 13.
Yes.
The par 4 with the blind tee shot, the canting fairway right to left, and that shot into that green. I could sit there for an hour with a bucket of balls just hitting different shots in the green. So for me, it's 13.
Yeah.
How about you?
I did think you were going to say that. There's a lot I like about this course. I like, and I hate to just pick one of the easier holes on the course, but I like number 6 a lot. And I fell in love with the Sueur when I did. 6 was one of the holes carved out of the cornfields.
Yeah.
And I love that vibe. Disappointingly, that the cornfields weren't there this year. They're either what'd you call it?
Crop rotation.
Crop rotation.
It was like 5th grade. It was like 5th grade social studies.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I blocked that part out, but it's not as pretty without the cornfields. And I know cornfields are the favorite thing for a lot of people that live here, but I just love it. Like I said, I love the movie Field of Dreams. There's something special about cornfields. So I really miss the corn stalks. When we played it back in the day, they were 6 feet high and it just looked really cool. That said, I still like number 6. It still is a cool view just of the farm in the background. 6 is a pretty hole to approach if you get a nice drive. I'm going 6, despite the missing cornfield.
Yeah, I had two visions that didn't happen today. I was expecting the cornfield, not the crop rotation. I thought that we might do the emergency 9 right by the corn. I thought that might have been a cool thing. And I also could see you someday, maybe today when we're older or near the end of our road, like you hole out from the fairway for a 2 and then you just walk off into the cornfield.
Oh, I think I
Kind of
will
like
do
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be like a good, and then I never see it again. I mean, that's it. That'll be a great ending.
The Golf Loons ceases to exist right after that shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mic drop.
Giving me something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about we'll go into the signature hole, and this one, again, I don't know that I'm right here. I'll go with 15, the par 3, the overlook of the whole valley. I'm sure if you played there in October, it would be an unbelievable view.
Yeah.
Of the course. I hesitated to pick this one because there's so many holes that incorporate this cool little creek or river that we'll talk more about. I feel like some holes that have that part of it should be the signature hole, but I'll go with 15. I love that view. I love that shot. It's just a great hole. I love the drive up to it too. So I'm going 15. How about you?
Yeah. I can't argue with that. I picked number 9.
Yeah.
I think that the combination of that drive down another drive where you're kind of got to play that slope. And then I just think that approach shot, you've got the clubhouse to the left, the range and the distance, and it's super downhill. And I just love how that green is situated. So I like number 9, and my favorite view on that hole is actually from the green back up the hole in the fairway. Took a good picture of that today. I just think that's a really, really amazing hole.
And that's a really tough hole that you always seem to play really well. It suits you.
The last 2 times anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, part. Yeah.
Okay. All right. A hole where you can find a birdie at with Sueur.
5. You kind of go through the meat grinder, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like if I get my drive into play in the fairway, I'm thinking birdie just because, okay, like it's a pretty wide fairway and my second shot. And then, okay, I might have a wedge. I want to try to get it close. Yeah. They're not a ton of I mean, there's bunkers around the green, but I don't feel like they're that menacing or anything like that. So I'm going with 5. How about you?
I think I think all the par fives are birdie opportunities at
Mhm.
Lesueur, depending on how you hit your drive. They're all reachable in two. But I'll go back to my favorite hole, number 6, and say that's a birdie hole. If
Yep.
you just hit a decent drive, you're going to have a short iron in, and it's not too terribly tricky of a green, other than maybe today it was,
Yeah.
but I'll go with 6 again.
Okay.
So,
Well,
all right. But the hole that you're happy with a bogey on, I think there's a lot to choose from here as well. I'll go with 9. I think it is such a tough hole. You probably, if you hit the ball a long way, you probably shouldn't hit driver here. But then I hit my heavenwood and hit a good shot, but I still hit a long way in and downhill lie. And then, like you said, if you're not straight on your approach shot, you go left, right, or over, you are hitting way back up onto this green. It is a tabletop green that can give me fits. So I'll go with number 9, and it has the 1 handicap.
yeah, there's some greens at this course well, there's a course in Wisconsin that I love that I argue about with Birdie and JP about how great it is. It's the Lawsonia Links, and it was built by these guys, and they use steam shovels back in it, but they've got these huge drop offs. So like this course has those same drop offs. 9, I totally agree, is crazy hard.
Okay.
That was one of my ones I thought of. I'm going with number 4. Even though it's not the longest hole, I just think that green, uphill green, is so hard to hit and hold. And then you're just hoping like, crap, I hope I'm not above the pin. Because if I am, it's going to be a really hard chip or a really hard putt.
Yeah.
So I just think I just had many a decent approach go just a little left or right. And I'm like, crap, this is a crazy hard. So that's a par 4.5 to me, number 4.
Okay. What's your favorite par 3 on this course?
15.
Okay.
I like downhill ones, but this is so downhill. And you talked about earlier that the views are beautiful. And it seems like every time we played it, like somebody hits a shot at the pin or close, and you're holding your breath. It's like, okay, this looks good, and it's in the air forever.
Yeah,
I like 15.
I like 15 too. I'm gonna do an honorable mention for number 10 though. I think it is we already talked about it. Fun tee shot right next to the clubhouse. That pretty river is running right through it. It's a fairly simple shot, but it never plays simple. I don't know. Today we hit 2 decent shots.
Yeah.
It's not always the case. That water can come into play, but all those holes where the river runs through, I'm a fan of. So I'll mention number 10.
Nice.
I'll go to my favorite par 4, and I again already said 6 was my favorite, but 13 is up there. And for all the reasons you described, it is once you get over that hill, it is such a cool setting. There's not much more I can say about it that you didn't already, but I'll go 13 there.
Yeah, I think the best holes on the course are the par 4s. In the collection of par 4s are terrific. I think the best par 4 is 13.
Yeah.
But there's some other, I think 9 is excellent. I think 4 is excellent. I think 3 is excellent. But if I had to pick one, I'm going 13.
Okay. And your favorite par 5?
16.
Yeah.
The saddle. The range was easy today. Like these holes I really, really like in 16's one, give me a half an hour and a bucket of balls and my driver and I'll be just fine.
Yes.
And a high noon.
Yep.
How about you?
You're right. I'm not going to argue. I think we're agreeing on most of these, or coming close.
Yeah.
16 is my favorite par 5 too.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'll do another honorable mention. Number 5, when the cornfields are there.
Yeah.
Number 5 is very cool too.
Yeah.
In fact, if the cornfields were there, it would have been my favorite.
Okay.
But I do like what you're saying with 16. That saddle that you aim for, it is just fun. I'm a sucker for seeing a ball bounce and kick into the fairway.
Yeah.
And I like how it's set up to do that. So
do you like Aerosmith?
Yeah.
I was saying next time I want to cue up Back in the Saddle again when my next tee shot, like my walk up song.
Okay. All right. Sure. Yeah. And I don't want to, when you're doing that, I don't want to close my eyes and I don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah. Who would? Yeah. Who wouldn't want to sit 220? Yeah. 225-yard cut.
That's right. Okay. Did you get my reference there? That's an Aerosmith reference.
Oh, what? No, I didn't. What was
Don't
that?
want to close my eyes.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
impressive.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Well, now I do.
Class of 97.
Yeah.
I'll get that for
Yeah.
sure. So, okay. So a few more things to touch on with the Sueur Country Club. Today, for sure, these were the fastest greens I played all
Mhm.
summer, all season. These greens were so fast today. It was like putting on tabletops. I've never seen them like that at the Sueur. They've always been good greens, and they were good today. But holy buckets, that those things were rolling today.
Yeah. Holy shnikes. They were the firmest greens I played all year. And they were the fastest.
Yeah.
And I just played, I do a yearly event with some buddies. And my friend Andrew Turner, we've been playing a match every year since 8th grade. So since 1984, right? To date myself. So it's 42 years. Right? And he belongs at Minnetonka, which they're notorious for their greens. Right. So it's a treat to play there. I love that course. And usually these were faster than Minnetonka and firmer than Minnetonka.
Which you played last.
Which I played Sunday, which I played 5 days ago.
Yeah.
So they were terrific. And I don't think they were too fast and unfair, but you really had to be on your game.
Yeah.
So,
And they took a while to figure out.
yeah.
I've never had so many 3-putts this year than I did today. So it was tricky to navigate those greens. But other things about Le Sueur, so started out, had a fun chat with Mickey in the pro chat today.
Yep.
You know, he reiterated what I always say about Le Sueur whenever I play there, how much I love it. But I think it's just because it's half the cost of a lot of the best courses in the metro area.
Yeah.
It's, I live in Bloomington. It's 35 minutes away, 40 minutes away. Most courses are at least 20, 25, 30 minutes away from me. So why not go somewhere where I'm not sitting in traffic and I can probably get on and not pay a ton of money, and it's a great course. And so the Sueur fits that bill, but mostly for me, it's just, I think a lot of it was a surprise factor of how nice it was, how much better it was than I was expecting. But just so many cool holes there. I just love the Sueur Country Club.
Yeah. I echo that 100%. I like how I kind of I feel like it's a little old school. Like they're celebrating their 100th year this year, which is super cool. The pro shop is kind of like a small building. So you go in there and you check in, and it's kind of cozy. And then you walk out, and then you go to like the clubhouse and restaurant, which is a separate building closer to the 10th green. And so I kind of like the feel of that.
Yeah.
I like how it's, I like how it's in a small town, and like the small town supports it. Like there's always, people from town playing. And like tonight I went in to get a high noon after 9, and there's a group of 12 guys in there, cackling with each other.
Yeah.
And then after a round, there's 10 guys out by the 10th tee, and they're recounting their round. And so it just feels real low key and casual, and like real family. Like if you lived in Le Sueur, like you feel like everybody in town probably goes there.
Yeah. Sounds like there's a big skins game there every Thursday afternoon.
Evidently.
So so that's something to be aware of. And we didn't mention, it is a country club. It is open to the public.
Yeah.
So that's why we play. We're sticking to our no private courses. But that was another thing I thought when I first heard we're playing the Sueur Country Club. Well, not a member. You don't have to be a member. It's still a great rate.
Yeah.
If you are a public course player. And so, so it's just, there's great things. There's not a ton of great cart gal today.
Yeah.
She showed up plenty late in the day. She was still out there. Carts themselves, just your standard cart, no GPS on these. They get you from the tee to your ball to the green, but nothing fancy there. What else did you?
Yeah. The carts are fine. I mean, I like that they don't have GPS, so you can get kind of close to the green, or you obviously go to the signs or whatever, but they're not going to shut you down. So that's the theme with me. It's a course that's walkable. It's hilly though, but I mean, like the tees and greens are close together, so I like that. But if you walk it, it's going to work out because of the hills and the elevation.
Yeah.
I think most of the time we've played there, we have ridden just because of the group we're with or the hills or whatever. But yeah, I just, again, the more I go there, the more I enjoy it, and it's always in good shape. And I think the first time I played it with you was 7 years ago, probably, and we've played it every year since. And I think this year it's in the best shape I've seen it. So it only seems to get better. The fairways roll out. You get good lies. They're pretty, the greens are true and typically fast and firm, and the rough's thick, but you can play out of it. So
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, there are things you can find. You've said there's things you'd like to change. There's a few things I'd like to change, but man, maybe if you did change it, it wouldn't be the same as what it is. So,
Probably the only thing I'd change, I'd take a few trees out. I'm gonna run a few of the tee shots, so it's not as much of a shoot.
right.
But outside of that, I mean, there's not a lot to take. I mean, outside of a few trees here and there, but I think it's very playable and it's a great time, worth the drive.
I don't think we've ever played 36 there. I don't think we've ever played it twice. I don't know why that is, because I think that's what this course is perfect for, is to take a day. We're playing 36 today. What's a good course to do that? The Sueur, because more often than not, at least when I played, you get through it quickly, and it's not a death march by any means.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a course, and it's so fun that when you get done, I can definitely see you saying, let's go back out there. In fact, we almost did tonight.
Yeah.
We played a night round. Sun was still up. We almost thought about going back for 9 more, but as a service to our listeners and our viewers on YouTube, we came back to knock this one out.
Yeah.
So,
We're being team players. We could have been selfish, played another 9, but we didn't because of our viewers.
it's about the fans. It's not about us.
Yeah.
Right? All right. So, any final thoughts on the Sueur Country Club?
No, just it's a place that kind of reeks hospitality everywhere. It's very underrated. It's a hidden gem, and if you live in the metro, I think it's worth the drive. And I think you're going to find that there's 8 to 10 holes that you're like, I can't believe I'm in Le Sueur right now.
Yeah.
This is terrific.
So, get down there, say hi to Mickey. Say hi to all the crew in the clubhouse, get in the Skins game, or just get your buddies out there to play. It is a fantastic course, one of my favorites, and I'm just glad we got to do it in season 1. It was fun playing with you today. Again, I didn't let my poor play affect how I feel about a course.
Yeah, you're all grown up. You're maturing right before our very eyes.
I'm trying on my camera, so I have to be positive.
Yeah.
Right? I can't. No one likes to hear a negative guy. So, all right. Well, thanks, Twig. Good job on the range. We've got a very special guest for the Emergency 9. Someone I know you're really excited about.
Yeah.
So let's get to that. Let's go to the Emergency 9.
Hey, hon, how are you? Oh, that's awesome. Hey, listen, we still have 9 holes to go here today. It is really backed up out here. I'm sorry. I love you. Thanks again. Okay, love you. Bye. We're good.
Surprise! Your Emergency 9 guest is me, Glenn. We didn't have a guest with us today. Sometimes it's going to work out that way. So we figured when that happens, we'll talk to each other. So today it's my turn. Twig is going to do the Emergency 9 with me. I'm ready.
You ready? Are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah. So we talked about too, is like, well, we should each do an episode, maybe where we're, the guest. And so we want to do a course that we really kind of have a connection to or whatever. And so, one of the ones we thought of for you, or you thought it was Le Sueur. So here we are.
Le Sueur fits that bill for me. So.
Yeah. This isn't one of the official questions, but why? Why does Le Sueur fit the bill?
I think I think it fits the bill because of that connection with Mike Ryan.
Yep.
Every time I play it, I think of him and I miss him. But again, it was just that feeling of being so surprised by a course. And that's a rare thing.
Yeah.
Because you hear about a great course already, so you know it's going to be good, or if you don't hear about a course much, you typically don't think it's going to be very good. And this was a course I had not heard of. But I was blown away by it. And like you said, I go there at least once a year, sometimes 2 or 3 times a year to play. Sometimes if I just want to go out and play by myself, that's a course I'll go to because you can rip around there in the twilight and play. So, it's just it's a course that's got a lot of meaning for me, and it won't be one of my courses that I pick for favorite course, but it's up there. So,
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Okay, let's get into it. Okay. Glenn, what's your golf story and how did you get into it?
Okay. So I mentioned this back in episode 1, how I grew up in Duluth. My parents were members at Northland Country Club, both avid golfers. One of my sisters was a golfer. I did not take to golf at all. It was hard for me. I couldn't get the ball up in the air. I got frustrated. I liked playing all the other sports. So I took like junior lessons and stuff, but never really played it because I didn't think I was very good at it. So I pretty much took golf off from the time, especially like from high school through my 20s. I probably played, you could probably count my rounds of golf on 2 hands. And then I got into my 30s when I had kids, and I credit my friend Andy Wheeler in Duluth, who put together this Ryder Cup style event Memorial Day weekend at Northland. And we needed a bunch of guys, so they invited me, even though I didn't play much golf. And playing in that format and hitting enough good shots and just the how fun it was sparked something in me where I was like, okay, I like golf again. But even then, I didn't start finding myself like with the bug and wanting to play every day. I think that really kind of came on after you and I met and started working together and playing golf. And I just always consider myself to use a non-profane language, a crappy golfer who could hit a few good shots in a scramble or something. And then, I don't know, something clicked where I at least felt like maybe you boosted my confidence or told me I was better than I was, but I got the bug at some point, and in the last 7-8 years, I've just fallen in love with golf. I can't picture anywhere else I want to be than on a golf course. I love it. And I wish I could play more, but when I do, I enjoy the hell out of it. No matter what course I'm on, I've just fallen in love with the sport, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Right. So
well, and who knows, right? Maybe if you had been grinding as a 11-year-old at Northland and playing 5 days a week, maybe you would have gotten sick of it.
Maybe
be here, right?
But I think I would rather have tried that and been really. Sometimes I hear, I was really good when I was younger, and now I don't like golf anymore. I don't play much. I still would have liked to know what it would have been like to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'll never be really, really good. I'm trying to get better. I feel like right in this little stretch of golf, I'm getting worse. But I've learned to love it no matter what. And so it's just a sport I hope to play with my kids if they take the game on, and I love it.
Well, you're too hard on yourself. You are getting better. So you hush. Question 2. Do you have a favorite course or one that you have an emotional connection to, and why?
So there's a few, and Sueur is one of them. But if you're okay with it, Twig, if you give me permission, I'm going to name 2.
Yeah. So
Northland would be one. I didn't play there much as a kid, but I caddied there a lot. Caddy of the year, 1993. Co-caddy of the year.
With who? Who'd you share it with?
Greg McCall.
Okay.
I thought I would have edged him out, but we shared the title in 1993.
Okay. Mac. What's his nickname? Mac?
I think it's just McCall.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So, he's a good golfer up in Northland now, but I loved caddying in the Northland Invitational. I always had a guy, Larry Everett, that I caddied for, but then I'd go out and play and like, God, they make it look easy and it's really hard. So, but going back there, we play in my event with my friends every Memorial Day weekend. I love doing that. I love the course. And, a special thing for me is my dad, who passed away about a year ago from brain cancer. About 2 years ago, he and I went out there. It was his last round ever. Of course, he's played hundreds of times. And so I got to be there with him the last time he was ever playing on that course. So that was special. And then the other course, very different than Northland, but means a lot to me, is Como Golf Course in St. Paul.
Yeah. Why?
The reason for that is my first house was near Como. Again, this is when I wasn't playing. I was in my 20s, wasn't playing golf, but we had a dog, a yellow lab, and I would just take her on walks, and we'd go on the course, and it'd be wet, and I'd just let her run free. It was so fun to watch. She'd sprint and then do this thing where she'd find a downhill slope and just slide on her, like slide on her side and go as far as she could. It was like a little kid. It was just so fun to watch. So anyway, so I liked that. And then when I started playing golf a little bit, Como is where I guess got my start as an adult. And because it's not a terribly difficult course, it's a fun course. And again, a course where I can kind of go on and just work on my game a little bit and try things. And it's cool. It's a cool, if you've never played that one, it is, there's cool nooks and crannies for that, up against the zoo and a tiger cage on the 7th hole. And I don't know. So Como has always had this connection to me. So
Okay.
I'll name that one.
Great.
The Little Muni in St. Paul.
I like it. Dream foursome. You get to play any course you want anywhere. Who's joining you?
Okay, the first two are easy for me. I'm gonna go Charles Barkley.
Okay.
I just think he would be a riot to play with. And Eddie Vedder would be number 2.
Yep.
I don't think he plays golf, so that makes me look better.
Yeah.
Next to him. And then I feel like the third one, I've had a tough time thinking about this, and I always think about it when we ask other people. But I feel like I'd want some kind of comedian, a funny person. Will Ferrell comes to mind, or something like that. But I'm gonna go with Norm Macdonald, and it can be alive or dead, right? I know Norm is passed,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but I'll pick Norm Macdonald. I think he would keep things pretty funny.
Yeah.
Tell some long-winded but funny jokes.
Is there a course that you'd like to be on, or would you not care if you ever thought what course you might want to be on?
There's a lot out there. It's pretty cliche, but I think I'd give up on almost anything besides my kids. I'd give up to play Augusta.
Yeah.
So I just think that would be incredible.
Yeah. Someday.
Yeah. Maybe they'll let us do our pod from Amen Corner.
The Loons. Yeah. The Loons. Yeah.
I
absolutely.
can't wait for that.
Bring a touch of class to that place.
Yeah. Let's call up Hootie and see if we can.
Yeah. Fred Ridley, what's going on? Okay. So you worked in hockey for quite a few years, worked for the Wild, executive director for Minnesota Hockey, worked for the PWHL team in town, the Frost. Right now you're working for USTA Northern section. How's the change? Like what's similar? What's different? What's the biggest parts of the change?
Yeah. So USTA Northern, for people that don't know, is tennis.
Yeah.
So a totally new sport. And, I grew up playing tennis, and you and I have taught tennis lessons together.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a connection to that sport. And it's been great. I think, no one calls Minnesota the state of tennis. They call it the state of hockey. So it's different in that way. But tennis is such an accessible sport. Maybe people don't realize how it is, but you just need a racket and to find a court. And, and it is one of the healthiest sports you can play. It's one of the best crossover sports you can play. If you're a hockey player or soccer player, nothing really compares to tennis as a complementary sport to how, all the stops and starts and the hand-eye coordination and the endurance that you need. So my job is to market that sport, and to me, that's an easy sell because there are so many good things about it. It's tougher in this neck of the woods because we don't have tennis season all year round like they do in the South, and there's only a certain amount of indoor courts. But man, when spring, summer, and fall come, besides golf, I don't think there's many better sports to get out and play, especially if you just have one person
Mm-hmm.
they want to go hit with. It's fantastic. And no, one answer one question I always get is do you hate pickleball? And no, the answer is pickleball and tennis coexist. Pickleball is a great sport too. As long as people are active, kids, adults, whatever, as long as they're active and getting exercise, that's a good thing. So if they prefer pickleball, that's okay. I think the only time there's issues is when there's pickleballers on a tennis court.
Yep.
And we've come across that issue a couple of times during tennis lessons.
Yeah.
There's some passionate ladies who play pickleball on the course where we teach lessons at, but hey, they're getting out there and playing. They're doing their thing. So good to know.
That's right. That's right. Well, it'll soon be the state of tennis after give you a couple more years.
Yeah, I can't believe it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah. So you worked at a youth sports space a lot between, for sure, at Minnesota Hockey, but there's a lot of crossover with that with your USTA Northern. If you could change two things about youth sports, what would you change? If you could have a magic wand.
Well, you and I talk about things. Our list would probably be 80 to 90 things long.
Yeah.
Two things, and I might piss some people off by saying this, but I'm going to say it. One, I would get rid of these sport academies that are also schools, especially ones that are online schools. I don't think that's good for sports. We see them pop up in hockey all the time, but there are other sports too. I don't think those are good. And man, there's one I won't say, so I'll go with another one. I would make it illegal to put elite in the title of any team.
Yeah.
Or showcase, but calling your program elite just drives me crazy. And this whole obsession with my kid being elite is causing way more problems than it's solving. And the only problem I feel like it solves is an empty wallet in some entrepreneur's back pocket. So those are the two. Maybe in the director's cut, I'll share my third.
Okay. Those are good. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, is there really such a thing as an elite 7-year-old, right? Or an elite 9-year-old and something? It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. And who am I to say? I mean, I know a lot of my opinions are actually in the minority when it comes to youth sports. But I've worked in it for so long and seen so many things. I've certainly developed my share of opinions. Mm-hmm. So they're not necessarily right. But you asked, so there's my answer.
I'd say they're pretty spot on, and in not many people have worked in youth sports more than you, or more. It really, seen underneath the underlying issues and all those things that a lot of people don't really know about. And so so I think your opinions are certainly founded.
You and I have seen a lot of things, and we've talked to a lot of parents.
Yeah.
Over the years, and we've got a lot of good stories from those conversations, and a lot of inside jokes from those conversations too. But but saying that, 95% of parents are great, so and they love their kids, and no one can blame them for that. And I have 4 kids, and they all play sports, and I'm certainly not the perfect sports parent either. And it's easy to get caught up in things, but I try to do the right things and try to practice what I preach.
You're pretty normal. You're very normal. Okay, now switching gears to one of your favorite topics, Duluth. I've heard you say probably over 100 times, there's 2 kinds of people in the world, those from Duluth and those that wish they were from Duluth. What are some of your, growing up in Duluth, a Duluth native, what are some of your favorite things about Duluth?
Yeah, okay.
What makes it such a great place?
We might run out of tape. Everyone's prideful of where they came from.
Yeah.
And everyone misses their hometown when they move away. And I always kind of thought I would move back there at some point. A lot of my friends did. I did not, and would have liked that chance. But there's just great things about Duluth. The lake, obviously, is the first one that comes to mind. There's great restaurants up there.
Mm-hmm.
underrated foodie town, I feel like. So
Yeah.
my Duluth friends would argue that there's not enough good places. I think there's a lot of great places to choose from. You've had the pasta Luca Brazzi at Blackwoods, so you can vouch for that
Oh,
one.
forget about it. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, us, the five families would love to have that pasta. And then to bring it back, not to bring everything back to hockey and sanity, but Duluth's hockey model of the outdoor neighborhood rinks was and hopefully still will be the absolute pinnacle of youth sports in my mind. Just these kids, you don't even play for your town, you play for your neighborhood.
Yeah.
On these beautiful outdoor rinks. Mine was set in the shadow of my elementary school. It's no longer there, unfortunately. But they're, Glen Avon, I took you up there once when we were in Duluth, set against these trees and just these picturesque Terrence Fogarty type rinks that kids grow up and play on till the time they're 10 years old. And it's such a community. Dads are out there at 11 p.m. on a January night flooding the rinks. And so Duluth just has that. It's a mid-sized city with a small town feel and laid back town and great outdoorsy town. So yeah, Duluth is always a place I try to get back to whenever I can.
Yeah. Good spot.
That's got Northland too.
Well, and Northland is which is crazy good.
Yeah.
What was your park again that you grew up playing at?
I was a Congdon Park Cougar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge rivalries with Glen Avon, Portman, Irving, Duluth Heights, Lower Chester. Back then the list went on. There was at least, Lester Park. There was 12 or 13 association. Wheeler, Duluth Heights. Now I think there's only 6.
Okay.
So if I could go back to your question about changing youth sports, I'd go to Duluth and I'd build up 6 or 7 more outdoor rinks up there and get their associations back.
Okay. I like that. That would be your 2A.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Duluth, you've got a pretty good UMD story from hockey. Do you mind telling it?
So
You know the one I'm talking about. The UMD hockey story.
I do. I'll try to make it brief.
Yeah.
Post hockey career, I was working in the athletic office for UMD, and part of my job was working for the hockey team. And this was the year Scott Salen's first year as head coach at UMD. And my job at those games was to be in the press box. And that was before, live updates of scores and everything. So my job was to call other rinks in the WCHA and get the score updates. That was my job.
It's a great job.
A really nice job. And I'd get free pizza and stuff. It was, tough to beat. Well, one night I show up, it was a January night, UMD is playing St. Cloud State. I show up for my easy job of calling press boxes, half hour before the game starts. And my boss, Bob Nygaard, said, "Hey, Glenn, I think the guy's name was Craig. We'll call him Craig. Craig, the goal judge, isn't here. We need you to be the goal judge tonight." So I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I've got that seems really easy and fun. And I was a goalie getting the light turned on behind me. Now I get to be the guy turning the light on behind the goalies. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I go down, they take me down to the referee room before the game starts. And the referee was Bill Mason. And he came out and he gave me this walkie-talkie and he said, "Everything should be fine. But if there's if there's any need for us to call you, we'll call you on this walkie-talkie." Great. So I take the walkie-talkie. I go into my little booth at the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center. Game starts. UMD, terrible that year. Like, it was Salen's first year. They maybe won 5 games. And St. Cloud State was a powerhouse. They were a very good team playing for Craig Dahl. So UMD goes up 1-0 early. And the crowd is psyched because they're expecting to get blown out, and UMD goes up 1-0 early. I turn the light on. Easy as peasy. This is fun, right? Game goes on, and Duluth is still just dominating. Like, they are playing so well, and there's a scramble in front of the St. Cloud net, and just chaos in front of the net, and the net pops off, and UMD players are celebrating. And I'm just sitting there. I didn't, nothing's happened that I saw other than a fracas.
Yeah.
So, but UMB is celebrating is that they scored. And so the ref, Bill Mason, the ref, goes to the scores table to call me on the walkie-talkie. Well, the walkie-talkie's not working. So he skates all the way down to the Zamboni tunnel. I have to get out of my little booth and talk to him through the crack in the glass. And he's yelling through the glass. He said, did the puck cross the line before the net came off? And I very clearly yelled back to him, the puck never went in the net. So he turned around and waves it off. Well, as this is all going on, Craig, the original goal judge, had shown up. He was late for whatever reason, overslept, took a nap and overslept. So as I'm talking to Mason through the glass, he's coming down and he taps me on the shoulder and says, sorry, I'm here. I'll take it. So what it looks like is I screwed up this call so badly that they brought someone else in to take my place. And then not only that, so then I have to go back up to my job in the press box. Well, at the deck, there's no elevator or anything. You climb the stairs through the student section to get to the press box. So there was this guy, this super fan in the UMD student section. His nickname was Drunk Hockey Guy. And he saw me and yells out to the whole student section, there's the guy that screwed us. So it was the most embarrassing feeling I've ever had. Instead of UMB going up 2-0, the score stays 1-0, and then St. Cloud State comes alive and just pours it on, beats them 5-2. I go up into the press box, and there's one little TV in that press box, probably like 8 inches by 8 inches. Might have been color, might have been black and white, but everyone in the press box is looking up at that screen at the replay. And clear as day, you can see like the puck go top shelf and then bounce out, and then the net comes out. So I just completely blew the call. And then just to wrap the story up, after the game, one of the reporters wanted to get my quote. I'm like, no, I'm not talking about it. Yeah. I'm not gonna. But so he went to Sandlin after the game, and he's like, did you know that was a UMD guy that called that no goal? And Sandlin was great about it. Actually, he could have gone off the rails, but he said, you know what, that's the way our year has been. Even the UMD people won't give us the calls. Yeah. So whatever. So hugely embarrassing moment, especially since I knew a lot of guys on that team, and I think some of them are still sour about it. But I did talk to Sandlin about it a few years back, and he can be a little more jovial about it after winning 3 national championships. Yeah. So he was in good humor about it, but yeah, so not my proudest moment, but it's certainly makes for a good story.
It's so good. There's the guy.
Yeah.
So you have your UMBA national you just mentioned, which I've never heard you mention before. Though. No, 3 national championships. Obviously the first one was special with Kyle Schmidt, and we went through that a few episodes ago. Yeah. But if you could have one other team win a championship, which team would it be and why?
Yeah. So, back in even through my 20s, the Wild or the Vikings, I was really hell bent on them, or Twins or like I'd love for a Minnesota team to win the title. But as I've gotten older and had kids, like, I don't know if this happens to everybody, but your passion for professional sports wanes. I noticed it with my dad too. And so since UMD won 3 national championships, I don't get too invested in anything. Maybe it's the Minnesota in me, and I'm just numb to disappointment. So I'm going to say, like, I just love watching my kids play sports. Yeah. I got 4 kids that play. And I honestly don't care if they win. I just love seeing them perform and do what they love doing. There is nothing better than watching youth sports. I know it's tough. For you, your kids are grown now. Your daughter is going to college, so the youth sports years are over. Yeah, and so it's probably in some ways a relief, but I'm sure there's a lot you miss, because it is just fun to sit back and watch them try things and have successes and overcome hardships and all that. So yeah, watching my kids. And so I would love for one of them to win a championship in something. But if they don't, it's been a joy to watch them play. So I'll just say my kids' teams.
Yeah, well, enjoy it.
Yeah.
As you can, it's going fast.
I know.
It goes quickly.
I mean,
Yep.
when we first met, I watched your daughter Alice play an 8U game in Bloomington, and just a little tornado out there, and always trying to go top shelf. And, and to think that little girl out there who is just the best is now a freshman in college is crazy.
Yeah, and you're big. I mean, you're young. I mean, they're going to be fifth graders this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, can't ready. I mean, that's So slow down. We want to slow everything down.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Exactly.
Okay, last question. We asked this of all our guests. What mantra or credo that you live by and you see as kind of a key to your success? Words you try to live by?
Okay, well, the one I heard that I try to live by that I like, but I don't think I do a good job emulating it. But I love this phrase, a lion never needs to tell the other animals that it's a lion.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you live that. You're such a humble person, really good at things, but don't talk about it. You don't need to tell people about it. Your self-confidence is so good. But I love that quote. But I would say the one that I am trying to live by is one we had up on this wall for a little bit before I did this amazing wallpapering job, which is just great. Again, I'm not being a lion.
Yeah. It does look.
But we did put the quote from Shawshank Redemption of "Get busy living or get busy dying" is one of my favorite quotes, mottos, whatever you want to call it. And I think I view the podcast as something like that. Like, you just have to do things, and like not talk about it or think about it. You can have all these ideas, and I do think of myself as an idea person. And there's been ideas I've had. I'm like, God, I wish I would have done that. Like, why didn't I do that? Should have been. So this is an example of, I think, trying to live by that is get busy doing something you love. And, we're doing that, and whatever happens, who cares? Like, we're living our best life, right? We're playing the Sueur Country Club today on a beautiful summer night in Minnesota. Like, that's living today. And so, so yeah, life is short. And so you gotta do what you can while you're here. And, one thing about me is I try not to, yes, I get tired. I love naps, but I try not to waste time. I try to always be doing something. Hopefully it's with my kids or, doing something with them. But if it's not, then it's, I want it to be something that I love or enjoy. So.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, you are humble because you're very successful at everything you've done. You're a tremendous executive director. Obviously I got to see that close up more than anything. And I think you are an idea guy and you don't let grass grow under your feet. So I think those things that you said, I think are really true. And I think I think those are cool. I never asked you, right? So that's kind of fun to hear that from you, as well as I know you. And we started out as you were my boss, and then, we're coworkers, but you're a great coworker, a great boss, good friend, good person. So it was fun to, hear your answers to the emergency 9. And I love that quote from Shawshank too. So I think you do encapsulate that. So that's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for asking me that. Like, it is weird. Like, it is fun to think about these.
Yeah.
And, who cares what my answers were, but it's fun to ask them to people.
Yeah.
And hear what they say, whether they're well-known people or our friends, right?
Yeah.
It's not something we typically ask them when we're around them.
No.
So it's fun to ask, and it's fun to answer. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, great job. Fun emergency 9 surprise.
Oh, God.
Surprise guest.
I mean, tune in for this one.
The internet's going to melt.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome, everybody. All right. Well, I'm glad we got to do this. We promise. Well, we are going to do one with you too when we have a course that you're connected to, and we got one in mind in particular for that. But next week we'll get back to our guests playing with us. We've got some good ones coming up.
Yeah.
So we're excited for that. Until then, make sure you're going to Yellowbird Coffee.
Yeah.
Make sure you're following us. We would love for you to follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. You got us on Twitter and Facebook now. We're on TikTok. So, find us Golf Loons MN or golfloons.com. There's links to everything on there. So this has been a blast. Hope you like the new backdrop here in the Moon's Nest.
Mm-hmm.
Twig, anything to add before we go?
No, it was a terrific day at Sueur, and I'm glad we got to play because I know it's special to you, which I think makes it special to me too. And it was really a fun way to end the day. And I love playing early in the morning, first out in the course, and my second favorite time is close second is just the end of the day. So it was really fun. The shadows were coming over everything, and it was that soft evening light. It was a really fun day and fun to talk about it with you.
Yeah, I've played a lot of twilight golf at Sueur, and there's not many better. Well, any golf course is fun at twilight.
Yeah.
Sueur is great. So,
It's up there.
Yeah. So, all right, we can't wait to see you guys for our next episode. Until then, keep the weight on your front foot when you're chipping, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody.
Where'd we play?